Okay, so this time I didn't bike to the theater and bike back. I walked to the theater and walked back. So you see, it's different this time. I'm very underwhelmed, okay? So, yeah, Sinister 2. I never saw the first one. I think there's a few references here and there to the first one, but I don't know. I guess it could be its own self-contained story. Whatever. Okay, so the movie starts off with this kid, like, well, it starts off with, like, it's like old-ass footage and whatever, and it's just like, it's these people that are on crosses burning, and it's basically a snuff film, and it's shitty. It's shitty, okay? And then this kid wakes up, and it was all a nightmare or whatever, and he sees something in his closet that kind of looks like a shitty Jason mask. I don't fucking know. So then he, like, hides under his bed covers or whatever, and some face appears near him. And then we cut to this guy who was a deputy going to a church to confess or talk to a priest or whatever about some shit that went down. I don't fucking know. And yeah, so then we cut back to the boy from earlier and his mom and his brother, and they're in a supermarket and they're shopping or whatever. And eventually this creeper guy starts following them, and so they decide to run. And we find out later it's because, like the mom had an abusive husband, and, like, yeah, he was a dick, and that guy was hired by him. So they go back to this old-ass, creepy-ass farmhouse, and, like, there's, like, a church next to it. It's just, and people were killed there, okay? So the mom, she does, like, furniture restoration, and she does it in the old church building, but she hears, like, some sort of, like, sound or something from, like, behind the altar, and she goes to investigate it, but before she can actually, like, see what's there, her son, Dylan, he comes in, and he's like, what are you doing, or something, or, like, dinner's ready, or who fucking cares, like, and apparently he can see blood on the floor, but she can't, like, okay, fine, and, yeah, so then it cuts to this deputy guy. I don't, did they give him a name? I don't remember hearing his name. Whatever. So, deputy guy, like, apparently he's looking for the house that they're staying in, because apparently it was the site of, like, one of these, like, ghoul attacks or whatever, this freaking monster thing. I'll explain it later, okay? So, he goes out to the house with the intention of burning it down, and he didn't know that people were living there, obviously, so it turns out that the family is, like, hiding there to stay away from the abusive ex-husband. So, like, after they clear up that mix-up, because the mom thought that he was coming to, like, do something, I don't fucking know. So, they clear that up, and he decides that he's going to come back the next day to investigate the property, because apparently, like, that's just what he does. He goes around, like, finding places that this ghoulish thing has been. So he leaves, and he goes back to his motel, and some freaky stuff happens with his computer or whatever. Is, like, unfriended This Is Not, right? And then the ghost guy, like, shows up in the reflection of his computer, and I'm just thinking, he kind of looks like a mix between Slender Man and that guy from that Rage video game whose name wasn't important. I don't know. So, yeah, and then Dylan wakes up in his bed, and there's this kid who kind of looks like Tom Riddle, and he's just like, come downstairs, I want to show you something. And then he shows him, like, this thing in a chest or whatever. It's like you play movies on it, and it also plays, like, a record or whatever, and he shows him basically, like, a snuff film. It's like all these films, they show, like, the family doing something, like, happy or whatever, and they all have these, like, cryptic names for the films written on the film canisters or whatever, and they play them, and it shows them like having a normal day or whatever, and then they're all fishing, and then it shows them hanging upside down. I think that might be the first one. Oh god, I don't even remember, but it shows them hanging upside down, and then they get eaten by crocodiles. Yeah. Because, like, apparently this Tom Riddle looking kid, he's not the only one there. There's, like, 5 other kids with, like, their snuff films or whatever. So, what did happen next? Oh, yeah, so the detective guy, deputy, whatever the fuck he is, he comes back and he starts investigating, the barn, the farm. No, the church. God, I'm so tired. Anyway, he goes in there and he hears the noise too, so he's like comparing the photos from like the crime scene that happened in there, like all these people died, and yeah, so he's comparing photos and then he hears the noise and then he goes like back into the back of the church and then he sees like this thing moving. It's like a lid or something. He throws a rock at it. It's just a fucking rat underneath it, right? So then he's just like, oh. So then he just keeps going forward. And then he turns back around and he's got like his phone on with like the flashlight. And he sees a shadow of a kid. But when he turns the light on it, it's gone. And then, what is that guy's name? Bagul? I'm just going to call him Sinister Man. Sinister Man shows up and he decides to just scare him. And Deputy Man kind of just like backs up and he sees like a symbol that shows like Sinister Man is there. He's responsible for this. So, yeah. And then, yeah, he leaves. He gets a call from some guy that says some dude that he knew from the last movie has gone missing. So he has to come out and like check out a thing that he left behind. Whatever. And then, while he's still there, while the deputy's still there, the ex-husband does show up and he tries to like take the kids away, but it was a bluff because they didn't really have a court order for it. So yeah, because the deputy guy basically tells him to fuck off. Yeah, you know. So then they ask the deputy guy to stay the night or whatever, and they have dinner there or something, and the deputy guy falls asleep on the couch, but then they wake up, and, like, neither the mom or the deputy can sleep, so they just, like, go out and sit on the porch and get kind of smashed. Yeah, they got a bottle of, like, Jack Daniels or whatever. Oh, one interesting thing that I really liked about this scene, not only is the deputy guy kind of a great main character, like, he's pretty funny, he's got some good lines, the chairs in the kitchen, my parents have the exact same chairs in their kitchen. I have seen them all my life. It's just cool. It's just cool to see those chairs. Best part of the movie. I'm not kidding. Anyway, so while they're outside, Dylan goes downstairs and he watches another movie because all these kids are like, you have to watch these movies, or like, because he's been having nightmares and they're like, if you watch the movies, the nightmares will go away. Yeah, okay. He buys it for some reason. And, yeah. So, and it turns out this whole time, his brother, Zach, has been getting, like, really jealous that, like, these ghost kids are his friends, or they want him to be part of their group, and I'm just like, okay, be jealous about anything, I guess. And, so yeah. And the next morning, the deputy leaves. He leaves his phone number behind, or whatever, and, so the deputy guy, he goes out and he visits this dude. I don't know who he is, but he's got like a ham radio with him, and it's got a recording of like this little girl like playing her piano or whatever, and she starts saying creepy words and all that, and it's in Norwegian or something, and it translates to it's like Bagul can't hear me over your screaming, Mom, because, like, it turns out this whole thing is just, like, the kids, like, killing their families. Okay. So, yeah. That was really confusing. But, like, it's revealed that, like, this guy has just been, the deputy, he's just been burning down, like, all the houses to stop, like, Bughuul from spreading or whatever. So, while he's gone, the boys at the house, Dylan decides that he's not going to watch any more of their creepy-ass films, and good on you, bro. So, it turns out the whole time that the plan was just to make Zach jealous, so that he would watch the last film, and then he'd be the one to make the next film, and basically kill the whole family. But the thing is the killings don't happen until the family leaves the house, and, the deputy earlier had told the mom not to leave the house. Because, he was saying it was like some sort of, like, flight thing. He might have something against her in court, but, like, it was really to keep them from getting murdered. So, yeah. But, while he's gone, the next day it turns out that the ex-husband did get a court order, and, should mention that, he was, like, seriously abusive, and he put Dylan in the hospital. Yeah, that was kind of fucked up. So, so they're basically forced to go with him and live in his big-ass house. It was a big-ass house. And, so they stay there, and the next day, well, that night, actually, the deputy goes back to their house, and he bangs on the door, and he finds out they're not there, and he flips the fuck out, because they're gonna die now. And so then he goes and tries to warn them, but the ex-husband douchebag, he takes out a gun and beats the shit out of him. He beats the shit out of him. Like, he kicks his ass. Oh my god, it was brutal. Whew. Yeah. Anyway, so he threatens him, tells him to go away, and whatever. So, he leaves, and then the next day, like, all the ghost kids now, they have, like, weird cracks on their face, and they look like zombies because they got pissed off or whatever, I don't know. So, Zach starts filming everything because he's making the next snuff film, and then Dylan gets a hold of his mom's phone and texts the deputy, and he's like, it's Dylan, help us. Yeah. So, instead of the deputy, like, immediately going over there, he waits until nighttime, and by the time that has happened, Zachary has drugged the entire family, tied them to crosses, and set them up in the middle of a cornfield, and he's filming it. So, what he does is he, like, did a line of, like, gasoline to, like, one of the crosses, and he lights the douchebag husband on fire. So, yeah, so he burns to death, and it's pretty brutal. But then the deputy shows up, and he sees, like, the smoke in the distance, and he takes his truck, and he drives it into the cornfield, and he fucking hits Zach with it. And he just kind of falls over, and he's perfectly okay. Like, he gets up, and I'm just like, this kid is a fucking beast. He, like, took a car to the face. So he cuts the other two free, and they all run away, and, like, Zach chases after them with, what is that round thing called? I think it's called a sickle. It's like a blade on a thing. So he takes a sickle and the camera, and he starts following them and chasing them, and, he actually manages to cut off half of, the deputy's hand, and then they all get back to the house, and they try to hide, and, so, like, I guess you could say this film has all the benefits of found footage without actually being a found footage film. So, we get to see, like, all the ghost kids are helping him look around, and it was actually kind of cool looking. So, they find, the deputy, in, like, an office or whatever, and they like, throw everything around the room, but the deputy can't see it, so to him it looks like everything's flying around, but when we look at through the camera view, it's just a bunch of asshole kids throwing books everywhere. Yeah, okay. So, then, they throw, like, a bag of golf clubs at his face, and then, Zach goes downstairs to find the mom and Dylan, and he's about to kill them, but before he can do it, the deputy comes up behind him and smashes his camera and exposes the film to light, and it's ruined. The film is ruined. So, yeah. He can't do the murder anymore, right? So, like, the reason they had to film all these was because it was, like, violence through some sort of media or art. I don't really understand it. I probably should have watched the first movie, honestly. So, then he runs upstairs where, like, the chest was with the record player, film player thing. He's like, please be another camera, and of course there isn't. So, yeah. Then the other kids get mad at him. He's like, it's over, man. There's no way we can come back now. They didn't say that, but it's basically the gist of it. They can't come back now because, I don't know, the ghoul's gonna eat their friggin' souls or whatever. So, he's kind of fucked, you know? So then Sinister Man appears behind him, and then he, like, melts him. Or, like, he disintegrates him. He kills him. And, like, the footage is on a projector screen or whatever. Everything catches on fire. So the family escapes, and they're just standing out there in front of the house as it goes up, and I'm just like, you might want to back up a bit, because, like, I'm pretty sure that would still, like, be really painfully hot that close up. So after everything's over, they go back to the motel that the deputy was staying in, and he's just like, I'll just be a second, I'm getting all my stuff. So he grabs his laptop and his folder or whatever, and and he's about to leave, and then all of a sudden the ham radio from earlier pops up on the desk, and it's like, it starts saying, it's the kids, and then it says deputy, and then Sinister Man is in front of the camera, and then it goes black. So I guess the deputy died. I don't know. This was a stupid movie. It was stupid, okay? Like, okay, some of the snuff films were kind of creative. There's one where these people in a kitchen that's flooded with water get electrocuted. There's this one that's like evil dentistry. We didn't get to see much of it. Then there's another one where the Tom Riddle kid, he killed his family by crucifying them to the floor, and then he put, like, rats in cages on top of their stomachs, and then he put hot coals on top of the thing, and then the rats had to, like, burrow out through their stomachs. It was really friggin' nasty. And, there was this other one of, like, this girl, her family gets, like, buried in the snow on Christmas Day, and they all freeze to death or whatever. Yeah, okay. So, the snuff films were kind of creative, I'll give it that, but other than that, this is a stupid fucking movie. It's dumb. It's bad. That's why I went to go see it on cheap night, because it looked bad. You know, when I first saw the trailer for it, I thought it was a trailer for another Jeepers Creepers movie, because it had, like, that Boogeyman song in it, right? It's not a bad song, but that's the song from fucking Jeepers Creepers. You can't do that. You just can't. You can't. It was stupid, okay? I'm sorry this is so long. Yeah. Alright, I think that's it. Alright. See ya.